Hey everyone, it's Jill the Wandering Stamper. I hope you're having a fabulous Wednesday. Today we are going to make a really pretty double flap card. I love this fun fold. I saw it online a few months ago and I wanted to play with the Labeled with Love stamps. I haven't used those a whole lot and I haven't given them much airtime. So I wanted to share that stamp set with you and show you how fun it is. This card fold is like a card within a card. It's a lot of fun, it's easy to make, and it's really pretty. So I'm so glad you joined me for this one. Let me take a moment to turn the camera down and we'll get started. Here's what we're using today to make this card. It is so pretty and I can't wait to show you how to make it. I've kind of got the same color combo. It's a very tone-on-tone card, which I think is a lot of fun. So we're going to be, as I mentioned, using the Labeled with Love stamp set. I love this stamp set. It's very simple, but it can be very elegant or very playful. So this is a great little stamp set to have. We are going to be using some of the 2024 to 2026 In Color Shimmer Gems. These are so pretty, and of course they pair with the In Color colors. We're going to be using Petunia Pop and Pretty in Pink, and also some Pretty in Pink ribbon. The new In Colors do come with all of the ribbon colors, and of course embellishments. And stamp pads. We'll be using those two stamp pads, and you're probably thinking, oh my god, Jill, that's so much pink, but trust me, it's going to be really pretty. And you can do your own color combos, of course. So we're pairing it with Petunia Pop, Pretty in Pink, Basic White, and this paper is from the Unbound Beauty Designer Series paper pack. Very pretty, and I decided to grab this background because it kind of has both colors in there, and of course it pulls in a little summer splash for fun. So that's what we're using, and let me show you how to create this card. Let me show you the card. So this is the finished card. See how pretty it is? I know it's a lot of pink, but I added some Wink of Stella, and it's sparkly. I've got some gems on there, and it's a little card and then a big card. Cute, right? So that's what we're making. So let's get started. Let me set this aside and move some things out of the way. All right, so I'm going to grab our paper cutter. And if you think of this card in two parts, you've got your main base, which is your big card, and then your smaller card. So we're going to start out with the main card. So I've decided to do my background main card base in Petunia Pop, and that's going to be 5.5 inches by 10 inches. And I know this is an 11.5 inch piece of paper, or I'm sorry, 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. We only need 10 inches, so we're going to go ahead and cut an inch off. And that's just because I don't want to lose your camera view and have to swing that arm out on camera. You won't be able to see much when I do that. So 5.5 by 10 inches, and then we're going to score it at 1.5. And 5 3/4. I did not turn off my air conditioner, so I hope you don't hear that too much in the background. I usually turn the one off that's in the back of the RV for quietness, but I didn't turn it off today. It's a little bit warm. So now our next layer is going to be in the Pretty in Pink, and that's going to be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So I'm going to see if I have some scraps here. I do. So that is 5 3/8. So we need 4 1/8. All right. And then we're going to need a piece of basic white, 4 by 5 1/4. Just kind of looking at my scraps right now to see what I have. 4 by 5 1/4. All right. So as you can see, these will all layer together. All right, so that's everything we need for the outside. Now we're going to need 2 layers for the little flap right here. So we're going to need 1 in the Pretty in Pink. You'll probably keep seeing me disappear a second. I'm trying to utilize some of my scraps here. Here we go. So that will be 1 3/8 by 5 3/8. Okay. And then we're going to grab a piece of basic white, and that's going to be 1 1/4 by 5 1/4. Actually, that was not supposed to be white. That is supposed to be our designer series paper. Silly, silly. So again, that's 1 1/4 by 5 1/4. I'll go back over these when we're done. So that is going to layer on here. All right, so now that's everything for the main card. So we have the card base, we have the inside piece and the outside of the flap. So we have that. So now we need the outside layers for the card. So let's go ahead and cut our layers. So we're going to first create a pretty in pink layer. Get them out of my scrap pieces. So we're going to need one that is, sorry, I wanted to make sure I didn't mess something up. 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Let's do 5 3/8. I've made several variations of this card today, so that's why I get a little confused when I changed up some layers on another card, and so I had to look at that twice. All right, and now we want to layer a piece of designer series paper on top of that. So that's going to be 4 by 5 1/4. Okay. So that is everything for our main card. And now we simply have the little card in the middle. So that card is, let's see if it's going to be long enough. I think it is. So that card is going to be 3 1/2 by 7. So I'm going to go ahead and have to pull my arm out here. So I want to make sure this is 7 inches long. It is. All right, so I'm going to do 3 1/2 by 7. Okay. Turn that back. Get you back. And then we're gonna, oh my goodness, can't pick it up. And then we're gonna score it at 3 1/2. So we're basically going to have a little square card. Okay, so that's it. 3 1/2 by 7, scored at 3 1/2. And then we're gonna have a couple of layers for that little card. So we're going to have 2 layers of the pretty in pink, and those are going to be 3 3/8 squared, so 3 3/8 by 3 3/8. So let's see, 3 3/8. If I was living large, this would work out on one little panel, but we've got scrap, but that's okay. And 3 3/8. So we need 2 of those, one for the outside, one for the inside. And then we need 2 basic white. There's my basic white. And that is going to be 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. And I think I can get 2 on this one, hopefully. Okay, now don't forget, all the cutting instructions will be on my blog so that you have them. All right, so now to go back over that, we have our card base. That's 5.5 by 10 inches, and we scored it at 1.5 and 5 3/4 inches. So then what you're going to do is take the bone folder and give it a good burnish. You're going to fold the small flap in, it's going to be on your left, and then the large flap gets folded in as well. All right, now one thing I notice sometimes when I score, and I did it here, see how it kind of bunches up? So to fix that, just fold it in and then just run your hand over it like that, and then take your bone folder and just adjust it, and you won't even see that you had to do that. It covers it up completely, and now it's folded pretty flat. All right, so 5.5 by 10 inches scored at 1.5 and 5 3/4. All right, then we have a layer for the front that's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, which layers nicely, and that will go right here. Then we also have the inside with the same measurements, 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, or 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 and 4 by 5 1/4. So it's the same exact measurements, but that piece will go in here. And then we've got our two pieces for the flap right here, and that is 1 3/8 by 5 3/8 and 1 1/4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so that goes right there. So that's everything for the big card. And then for the little card, you're going to take your piece that was 3.5 by 7, which you scored at 3.5 inches, give it a nice little burnish with the bone folder, and then you had two pieces of Pretty in Pink, and those were 3 3/8 by 3 3/8, and then you had two pieces of Basic White that were 3 1/4 by 3 1/4, and one will go on the inside and one will go on the outside, just like that. All right, so let's start decorating. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the front, and I'm going to work my way in. So I'm going to do a little stamping first. So I'm going to grab the Petunia Pop, and I'm going to grab my stamps. So I'm going to be using I'm going to make this card exactly the same. So I'm going to be using the Happy Birthday stamp, and then we're also going to be using the two butterflies. And I have an avalanche over here. All right, set these off. So let's go ahead and lay these right here. So I'm going to start out by inking up my Happy Birthday, and I'm going to try to do this straight. I'm not always good at that part. I'm going to actually pull it out of my view for a second, out of your view for a second, and stamp that down. So hopefully, and my paper moved. Let's do that one more time. Thank goodness paper has two sides, right? Okay, so there we go. I'm going to stamp off and give that a little scrub so I don't forget it. All right, so now I'm going to take that off, and we're going to do a couple of butterflies. So I like to start out with the outline of the butterflies, and I'm doing that in Petunia Pop. And I've got, let me grab a little hint, keep some baby wipes nearby. I have a little Summer Splash ink on that cube, and I don't want to end up with it on my fingers and getting it on my paper. That would not be good. Okay, so I'm going to ink that butterfly up, and I'm just going to stamp a few of them on my paper. So there's one. They're just flying around. There's one, and we'll put one right here. So that looks good. All right, and we're going to clean that off, and I'm going to switch over to my filling, my little butterfly fill, which is this piece, and I'm going to switch over to my Pretty in Pink. And I got this color combo inspiration from a card I saw online, and I will have to look up her name. I don't remember it, but she made a basic card with it, and I thought the colors were so pretty, so I decided to do that today. And I really like how it came out. So I am just lining this little stamp up with the outline of the butterfly. It's really easy to do. I'm even going to be brave and do it away from the camera. So there we go. Super pretty. So that is the front, and then now we're going to clean our stamp off, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp the inside piece so that we'll be able to assemble this little card. So we did our happy birthday, and I love that there are several sayings in this because you can kind of make it kind of like a storyline. So I'm gonna put happy birthday back, and I'm gonna grab enjoy today and put that on my block, and then we're going to switch back over to the Petunia Pop. Ink that up. Hope I get this straight. Ah, that looks pretty good. And then we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing with our butterflies. Lots of butterflies today. So I'm gonna grab that outline. And we're gonna add our butterflies. So there's one. And we'll do two. And should I add a third one? Nah, I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm happy with it that way. All right, stamp off, clean that stamp head. And now we're gonna grab that filling again. And just pop that on there. So as you can see, this card does not take a lot of time to decorate. So sometimes when you have limited amount of time to make a card, this is a great card to do because you can get it done pretty fast. Okay, so that is our inside. So we've got our outside and our inside. Why don't we go ahead and do our inside piece, and then we can put all these stamps away, or these stamps and inks pads. So I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to grab our inside panel because we might as well do that, right? So I have my Pretty in Pink opened. So what I'm going to do is grab the frame that's in the stamp set. So we have this little frame, and I'm going to ink this up in the Petunia Pop. And I'm going to try to get this straight. It took me a couple tries with the other one. You know what? I'm pulling it out of your view so I can try to get this straight because I did not get it straight on my first sample. Okay, there we go. I guess if I was standing and not sitting, this would be easier, but I don't have a space that would work out at. All right, and now I'm going to grab the other word we have, which is You Are Loved. And I'm going to switch over to the Petunia Pop. Now, I think this would look good, just as good if we did it in the reverse, with the Petunia Pop frame and the Pretty in Pink words. That would work as well. But this is how I decided to do it. So I am just going to hope I do this straight. Okay, not bad for not being right over it. It's really hard to stamp on. Stamp on demand, it really is. All right, and then the last thing we're going to do is one more butterfly, having an avalanche. So while we have Petunia Pop opened, we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to add one butterfly on this one on the bottom. So I'm just carrying my butterflies throughout the card. They're just flying around. And finally, our filling. Whoop. Okay, we are done stamping. Put my stamps away. I was sorting my stamp pads, my stamps today, and my dies, and I found a rogue die. I have no idea what it goes to. I cannot figure it out. All right, so now that we have all our stamping done, let's go ahead and start assembling this card. So I'm going to start with this little card, and I'm just going to add my liquid glue to the back. You could use whatever adhesive you have. I like liquid glue because There is a very narrow margin on these pieces, and I want to make sure I get them straight the first time so I don't have to take them off. Now, I'm not going to paint the butterflies with Wink of Stella. I must have an air bubble in my glue this time, like I usually do. But let me tell you, it's so pretty. So if you have Wink of Stella, paint those butterflies. The sparkle is so pretty. I know it doesn't really show up on camera, but it really does make quite a difference. All right, I just filled this glue. So I think I have something. I have a clog in it. I've never had a clog in this glue before. See if I can get it started. There we go. Yeah, I've got a clog. We may have to switch to Stamp and Seal. This is the first time I've ever had a clog. Probably because while I was filling it, I had the lids just sitting there, and it may have dried a little bit. Okay. So that is our inside. Oh, we seem to be working again, so that's good. I was a little worried. Oh, it's so quiet right at the moment. So quiet. It rained all day. Well, it rained on and off all afternoon. It rained last night and it rained today. That's really crazy for Colorado. All right, now that we have that done, we're going to go ahead and start assembling the front of our card. So here are all of our pieces, and I like to just lay them inside where they go, get them out of my way. So I'm going to start out with this little strip here. Most of this card is really just layering. It's so quiet in here, my ears are almost hurting. It's very strange. Okay. Do you ever feel like that when it gets super quiet? Your ears kind of buzz? I guess that's the sound of silence. All right, so now this piece just goes on the front. The great thing about this card is it will work for anything. Any stamp set, any designer series paper. I really like that. And one of my samples that I'm going to show you using this very same set, I didn't use designer series paper. I basically made my own and it came out really good. So you don't even have to have designer series paper to make this look nice. So it's a very, what did I do? Did I not cut this right? I think I didn't cut this right. Let's see, 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. That is not right. Do it again. Okay, I don't know how I ended up doing that. Started to put it on there and it was way too long. Okay. I like this paper, there's no direction to it, so I can just slap it on there. So it makes for a really quick card. There's not a ton of stamping, there's no coloring. I didn't even use Memento ink. It's really crazy. I always use Memento ink, so it's really crazy to do a card where I didn't have to pull that out. Alright, so now we've got our outside, and let's go ahead and put our inside in there. Okay. And for somebody who maybe doesn't like pink, or they have a favorite color that's not pink, I mean, all you have to do is change up the cardstock and the inks, and of course your paper, but it's super easy to do that. Just personalize it to the person you're giving the card to. All right, so now all we have left is this piece here. Now I think I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to go ahead and add a piece of ribbon. I'm going to add a piece here and tie it. I think that would be pretty, and I'm just going to do a simple knot. So, ooh, these are my sticky scissors. Why am I cutting with those? So I'm going to do a knot, but I'm going to do it up high because we don't have a whole lot going on with this card, so I think the knot, you could do a bow too. I'm just going to do a knot and give it a trim. Okay. That's an easy way to dress up a card without taking a lot of time. Now, if you didn't put your knot real tight and you have a lot, oh, look at that, I didn't even get it straight. You can, let me fix this, just have to turn it because that's going to drive Jill crazy. There we go. Well, that didn't work, did it? That's okay, it's the inside of the card, it's fine. So if this is a little loose, just put a glue dot behind it, and that way it can kind of hold it in place. But I was able to make it tight enough where I didn't need to do that. So now all we have left to do is attach this card on the front. So you just have to decide where you want it to fall. I like it kind of centered everywhere, and then I just kind of, I put my thumbnail where I want my card, my adhesive to not go past, and then I just add my adhesive. So you really only need about 1 inch of adhesive on here, and that's about it. So I've got that on there, and I'm just going to push this back down and just lay this down just like that. Make sure it's straight, and then I just check the back, make sure there's no glue. So there we go. How easy was that? So move my stuff out of the way. So here we go. Happy birthday. And then you open it up and there's another little surprise. Enjoy today. And then you open it up one more time and you've got You Are Loved. Very pretty, tons of room to write in. It's a very sweet little card. Let me show you my other sample. This one was fun. This is the other one that I did, and I used the birthday presents that are in that same stamp set. So we've got this present right here that also has a fill, so I just stamped off. I used the Summer Splash and white, and I just stamped off and then stamped full color so you get tone on tone. And then these little guys here, I just stamped them all over to make a background. And then I took a blender brush, and what I do is I just dip one of my blocks in ink. I usually use this one here. I'll dip it on the ink pad so that the brush doesn't absorb too much ink, because if you did it right onto the pad, you would just dry your pad out. So I just stamp down on the pad, and then I just take my brush and give it a little brush, and then I have a scrap piece of paper that I started on just to make sure I know how dark it is. And then you just lightly swirl the color on. So I essentially created my own designer series paper that way. So it's a really easy technique to color, and then you just wipe off your on your paper until the ink stops coming off, and then I just keep one for blues, one for greens, one for reds. So I just use that same one for all of my shades of blues or greens or whatever. So just a little tip for you for the blending brushes. So this one says Happy Birthday. I added this little bow to it with the Summer Splash ribbon, and I tied it around the white cardstock, And then I raised this little piece on the front with dimensionals, so it kind of made it a little different. And then inside it says "You are loved," same way. I created my little piece of designer paper, my own special one, and then I put "Enjoy Today," and then I stamped some more of those presents and brushed a little more color on there. So for these layers, I just started out with the base of basic white and then layered the summer splash and then did the white again because I created my own background. So there's a totally different look, not pink. And then my third sample, I used the Unbounded Beauty stamps and this beautiful paper. This one, where did I put my stamp set? Thoughtful Wishes. That's what I'm not Unbounded Beauty. Thoughtful Wishes, excuse me. So this is the Thoughtful Wishes stamps and dies. And then I used the little die here comes from the Unbounded Love. So that is one of the Unbounded Love dies to create that right there. Thoughtful Wishes, and then of course the Thoughtful Journey Designer Series paper, which is absolutely gorgeous. And I paired Lost Lagoon with Wild Wheat, which is a really pretty color combo. So I did some die cutting, added some butterflies. It says "Dearest Friend." Inside it says "Thank you for thinking of you fondly." And then I used that Designer Series paper to create that scene, which does all the work for you. And then the inside greeting comes from one of my favorite greetings lately. It's called "Hope You Know," and this one I use a stamp that says "May you find peace in the days to come and in the loving thoughts that surround you now." I've recently had some people request that I make some more sympathy cards for when I do my fall craft fair, and so this is one that I came up for that. And then I carried over that die cut piece and glued it down right here. So really pretty card, and as you can see, you can change up your cards for whatever look you want. So I have two birthdays that are very pink and very summer splash, but then I have this really elegant sympathy card. So there it is, the double flap card, super easy, fun to make, and fun to give to someone you care about. So don't forget, if you don't already subscribe to my channel, go ahead and subscribe and give me a like and a comment if you enjoyed this card. I love interacting with all of my viewers. And don't forget to head on over to my blog page, Wandering Stamper, so that you can get all the cutting and scoring and assembly instructions, and of course a list of what I used for each of these cards. I'm so glad you joined me today, and I hope you get a chance to craft soon. Have a great day. See you next time.